We didn't know what to expect, but this perfect boat fell into our laps.
Welcome to the Blue Top Podcast. We are Sofia and Ariana Jewelewicz, twin sisters and co founders of Blue Top Legend, Blue Top Yachting, and Blue Top Performance.
This is where we dive into all things yachting, maritime marketing, and running a business on and off of the water. From insider tips to stories that inspire, we're here to help you navigate success.
Last time, we answered a couple questions and spoke a bit about the original Blue Top and all of the memories that she gave us.
Today, we're diving into the next chapter how we found our 16-foot Dauntless, the boat that became the new Blue Top Legend. It was a journey filled with excitement, tough decisions, and a lot of learning.
Speaking of that Montauk detour, the reason that we were so back and forth is because God knew that we needed a Dauntless in our lives. If you know Whaler, you know they have outrageous Dauntless, Montauk, the Realm, which we discussed in our last week's episode. But the Dauntless is such a special model. It has a very shallow draft, yet it's a thick build, so you can go in the ocean, really full send it. It's great for water sports, goes extremely fast. Mind you, we do have that boat powered to the maximum that you are allowed to have it powered for. We went back and forth so many times and actually put an offer in on a Montauk. And then the day after, we ended up telling our dad, yeah, we don't want to upgrade anymore. We love the Super Sport with all of our heart. We're going to keep her forever, never going to upgrade. The day after that, we decided to upgrade again. We didn't end up getting the Montauk, but we did decide to keep looking because we really felt that we were outgrowing Mini Blue Top and it was our time to move on.
There was honestly nothing about the Montauk that stuck out to us because I remember talking about it and we looked at that boat and thought it's a really cool boat, but it didn't have that pull like the mini Blue Top did. I remember the first time that we saw that Super Sport, we immediately knew this is going to be our boat. We are going to do so many incredible things with this. And of course, that was the first boat, so it was a little bit of excitement. The Montauk had a lot to live up to with everything that we did with the 13-foot. And looking at it, there was nothing that said this would be the boat that we can continue building our legacy and growing our brands with. We made the smart decision in rescinding that offer because, as much as we would have totally enjoyed having that boat, and it probably would have been an amazing boat, I am so glad that we ended up with the Dauntless. The first time we saw that boat, we immediately knew this is the boat that's going to continue the original Blue Top's legacy. This is a boat that we can continue growing our brands with. This is a boat that we could still full send while also being a little bit safer in that it's a little bit of a larger hull. I am so glad that we didn't take on that Montauk because the Dauntless has done everything and so much more for us.
The Dauntless is pretty unique because it's like the perfect middle child of the Whaler family. Compared to the Montauk, the Dauntless gives way more versatility, better storage, more seating, and a hull that's a little bit more comfortable for longer rides. It's definitely a unique kind of hull. Meanwhile, the Outrage is built more for offshore adventures with a very deep V hull, but it can sometimes feel like overkill, especially if you're mainly cruising inshore or doing casual outings. The Dauntless hits that one sweet spot, versatile enough for fishing, for water sports, which we do all the time, family trips, or even just hanging out at the sandbar. We go to Lake Boca all the time, so this boat really hits the spot. It's our perfect boat for everything that we do. It's the ultimate all around whaler. The Dauntless that we have now, our dad found the listing, sent it to us. She was gorgeous. We saw the pictures, we saw the completely redone upholstery. That old owner had completely redone the boat. Didn't put any hours on her. It was sitting in his garage after he redid the upholstery. Maybe had 50 hours on her. So it was basically a brand new boat.
I don't know if there was one specific thing that made us feel like this was the boat that we would be able to continue growing our brand with and building that legacy. I remember, like Sophia said, looking at that boat and knowing that it was the one. It was beautiful. The upholstery was gorgeous. It looked just redone. It was a center console, which was a big step up from our dual console at the Super Sport. That was super exciting for us because that was our first center console, and everyone knows that center consoles are so cool, but it also gave us so much more room on the boat. If you know Dauntless, you know how wide the boat is. There is so much room in that boat compared to the much thinner Super Sport model. We could fit a lot of people on there. We could fit a tube on there. We could fit multiple wakeboards. It was the boat that would take us to the next step and allow us to pursue a lot more water sports. She had a perfect engine. It was the boat that we needed.
The boat was definitely placed into our lives at the perfect time. Our dad went up to North Florida, where she was located, did a quick sea trial, and brought her home a day or two after we said that we were ready to move to a bigger whaler. The definition of the best dad in the universe and one that makes his daughter's dreams come true.
He went up there, did the sea trial like Sophia said, put that engine through a couple tests with a hose, and then he put it in the water and tested it there. He looked all around that boat for cracks, checked the wiring. It was such a blessing to have him with that because as much as we learned with the 13-foot, there was so much more that we had to learn. We had no idea what the intricacies of wiring were, or how to check an engine, or how to look under a boat for fiberglass cracks. He checked it all out and he did such an incredible job. This boat came to us fully functioning, especially compared to the two-stroke that we had with the 13. She turned on just like a car. This four-stroke was so amazing compared to the 13-foot. Although I do absolutely love everything that we learned from that super sport. This boat was such a blessing, and our dad was an even bigger blessing. I am so grateful for it.
Speaking of which, Ariana, what made us fall in love so much with that 16-foot Dauntless?
I think it was the possibilities. We didn't know what else could be done because our whole boating lifestyle and all the knowledge that we learned came from the 13-foot. That was our first boat, and we thought she would be our last. Unfortunately, because she was cut in half at the end of that, she couldn't be our last, and it was time for her to retire. We didn't know what to expect, but this perfect boat fell into our laps. A gorgeous boat, something that was a little bit bigger so that we could bring our friends on, a little bit more powered, so we could go tubing. I was so excited for all the possibilities. She was 3 feet bigger, multiple pounds heavier, and a heck of a lot more sturdy. At the time, we didn't know much about the different models or makes of boats at all. We were pretty much clueless about the difference between a Montauk and a Dauntless, but our dad, like Sophia said, found that really cute Montauk. It just didn't speak to us. With the patience that we learned from the 13-foot Super Sport, we waited a few more months to find that perfect boat. We didn't want to give up on the 13. We were attached to the memories that we made on her and all of the crazy stunts that we pulled because with a larger boat, we definitely wouldn't be able to get the air that we were getting with the Super Sport. We can get plenty of air on the new boat, but we could have so much more fun because now it's a whole new world of water sports. We were able to tube and wakeboard, and we could go out in the ocean feeling a little bit safer in a little bit larger of a boat. After a few months, the Super Sport was ready to retire because she could not handle any more pounding. Our dad found the incredible Dauntless on Craigslist. The size upgrade was something that I was absolutely excited about because it would allow us to pound her harder without completely breaking her or putting a 6 foot fiberglass crack in her like we did to the Super Sport. Also, she was able to push more weight with the bigger engine. That allowed us to go even faster and send it even harder.
The 16 Dauntless is so special because it really does pack such an incredible amount of versatility into one compact and manageable size, especially because we had moving up 3 feet from a 13 to a 16, which might not seem like a big jump, but it really did feel like a big jump. Unlike any other models or bigger boats, it's easy to tow, launch, and handle a 16-foot boat, especially if you're boating solo or with a few friends. I'm able to take that boat in and out of the water with one other person. The 16 Dauntless offers a softer and smoother ride, and compared to the Outrage, we can gear more towards comfort and flexibility. We can do it all. We can cruise, we can go to the lake, we can go fishing if we wanted to, we can dive. We can do everything with this boat. It's small enough to feel nimble, but it's also spacious enough to handle any diving gear, water sports equipment, plenty of people. It's perfect for everyday adventures.
We used to take our family out on the boat and we would stuff everyone on the Super Sport, which is 4 more people plus any additional friends that were there. That's a lot of people to stuff into a 13-foot, very slim boat. Now, with the new boat, we can comfortably take our whole family out for a little cruise. That's so important because we never did that with the Super Sport. We could not, it was too small. And now it's become a family affair. We can finally share our love for the water and bring them out. My favorite thing about this boat is how much wider it is because, like you said, we can fit so much in there, whether it is a tube or wakeboard equipment or trash bins when we go out for a lake cleanup or nets for that, or people. We can actually bring our friends. And going back to what I said before, that just allows us to share our love for the water even more. Sophia, what was it like taking the Dauntless out for the first time? Did you know immediately that this was the boat?
I 100% did. Handling the 13 Supersport versus our 16 Dauntless is like night and day. The 13 Supersport, it was agile. It felt kind of like driving a go-kart on the water. It was light, it was fun, incredibly responsive. You could turn the wheel, the boat would move in a split second. So it was easy to do quick runs around the lake or intercoastal or ocean, but you would feel every single wave, especially in the chop. The Dauntless, on the other hand, is way more stable. It's heavier, much heavier than the Super Sport with a deeper hull. You get a much smoother ride, especially when the conditions are a bit choppier. That extra weight and those 3 feet make such a big difference. It's still small enough to easily handle, while it did take some getting used to. I do remember the day she came home, looking at her, seeing how beautiful that boat was. If you're shopping for boats right now, you will know when you find the one. I knew when I found that one. Right when we put her in the water, it took a little bit of getting used to. I went into the canal because we have a boat ramp right on our canal. We dropped the boat in the water. Ariana and I decided to go straight to the intercoastal and we pinned the throttle. And when I say pinned, I mean pinned the throttle. Of course, we wanted to see how fast our very new boat would go. Safe to say, she exceeded our expectations. Now, we kept our old boat on a jet ski dock and we keep this 16 Dauntless on a lift. It took a lot of getting used to being able to line the boat up to the lift and having to lower the lift prior to putting her on instead of running the boat up on the jet ski dock. We now have such a routine. Ariana does her stuff while I do mine. She hoses the boat, I get the boat on the lift and top the gas tanks, flush the engine, and we do everything in such a perfect amount of time. Every time she finishes her thing, I'm always done with my thing. It works out perfectly.
Absolutely love our little routine. It's carried on since the Super Sport. That boat was a lot smaller, so it needed less physical maintenance in terms of less square footage to clean. It made up for it in actual repairs with the engine and the wiring and everything else that went wrong there. It makes even more time for us to spend time together when you get to do all your fancy engine things with flushing the engine, scrubbing, anti-rust corrosion spray. I don't even know. Out there hosing the boat and we're laughing still. Going back to when we first put her in the water, we pinned that throttle. I remember being taken back by the wind because she went from a complete standstill to zooming in the water. I have no idea how fast we were going, but that day is something that I will never forget. It was so exciting taking out that new boat. It was noticeably more powerful than the 13-foot, and that was something that immediately excited us. We felt safe in her, but at the same time, there was a sense of excitement because the larger engine only means going faster, which only means even harder sends. One end of us feels super safe and the other feels super excited. You need a good balance of adrenaline and safety to have fun in your life. The Dauntless is the perfect model for us.
Ariana, do you remember the back and forth on whether to keep the original blue top or upgrade? It was not an easy decision, but why do you think we struggled so much making that final decision?
I do remember the back and forth. I think it was difficult because we saw what BTL has grown into simply with the 13-foot. We would go out there in the ocean screaming while having the time of our lives by going out there, pinning the throttle, doing what we love to do. And that somehow has grown into something so much bigger. It all started from that 13-foot whaler. She taught us so much. And as you've seen and heard from previous episodes, we can go on and on about how much that boat taught us in terms of repairs, in terms of patience, perseverance, what to do in times of distress when your engine fails in the middle of the ocean. I don't think that we were ready to let go of those memories that we made with her. They brought us so much closer and taught us so much, whether it be directly about boats or about ourselves, or taught us lessons that we could apply to our life. After the big crack in the hull, though, we realized that it wasn't fair to keep pounding her, nor was it safe. That boat has given us so much, and she earned her retirement. But if we were to keep pounding her, that crack would have only gotten larger. We would have put more water in the hull. At the point that we were ready to retire her, she was basically remade from repairs. That boat was almost entirely reconstructed just by redoing the fiberglass or fixing stripped screws or rewiring the entire engine or replacing the entire steering system. We would have to keep repairing her. I don't think that it would be fair to keep doing that to our dad because he had already put so much time into this. And again, it wouldn't be safe because it gets to a point when the boat is fully made of repairs and it's time for her to retire. The engine kept quitting. She was in need of a ton of maintenance. Our dad was ultimately concerned because the engine had quit in the ocean during a rough day, and we definitely did not know enough about how to handle that situation at the time. Luckily, when we got home, we talked to him about it. He let us know next time to throw the anchor down so that we don't wash up on the shore. Either way, being out in the ocean with no functioning engine on a day when there are whitecaps is not the safest thing. He just wanted us to have a safer option that was still full sendable. That is important to us. It was important to him because he saw how much fun we were having. He wanted us to be safe though. Even though I miss her, we have made so many new memories with the new boat. I would not change anything for the world. I love both of the boats. The Dauntless taught us so much about being able to do more. It taught me how to wakeboard. It taught Sophia how to drive the tube. It taught us how to actually have fun on the boat minus full sending. We were able to bring friends on there, go pin the throttle in the ocean with them. We were able to go free diving because we have space for the equipment. But we couldn't have done any of that without the super sport that actually taught us how to drive a boat. It taught us how to handle issues with the engine, what to do when the steering freezes, what to do when you have to replace the gas, what to do when you have to replace the oil. It taught us so much, and that is so important with our new boat. Just like you said in a previous episode, Sophia, it's so important to have a boat that doesn't work well all the time because then when you have a boat that does, you will appreciate it so much more, but it also teaches you how to take care of a boat.
It was a stepping stone and a learning curve in one, especially going from the 13 to the 16. We learned so much in that transition. We would both highly recommend a Dauntless if you're looking for any boat. Number one, get a whaler. Number two, get a Dauntless because it's one of those boats that you can never outgrow. It's comfortable enough for cruising, stable enough for fishing, sporty enough for water sports. If you're looking for a boat that's versatile and easy to handle and that has that classic whaler toughness and stability, the Dauntless cannot be beat. It cannot be beat. It adapts basically effortlessly to the waves, to the ocean, simple cruising. It's also an easy boat to get used to, especially after we put hydraulic steering in, after our steering failed the one time. This boat could teach a 3-year-old how to drive. It's that simple to learn. And we had the blessing of being able to go from a 13 to a 16. Not everyone has that blessing. Some people have to jump right into a bigger boat. Great, that might be another blessing in itself, but we had the blessing to be able to learn from small to big and maybe bigger in the future. Basically, it's the boat you choose when you want to do a little bit of everything and do it all well. So if you're looking for a boat, let us know and we'll help you find a whaler. Finding this Dauntless was not just about upgrading boats at all. It was about growth, embracing change, and finding that perfect boat for the next chapter of Blue Top Legend.
That's it for this episode of the Blue Top Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We loved having you on board.
Make sure to follow us on social media for more behind the scenes moments and updates from Blue Top Legend, Blue Top Yachting, and Blue Top Performance. And remember, we're all about navigating excellence and anchoring trust.
Don't forget to keep that throttle pinned.
And as always, don't touch my throttle. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.